Hello, I'm Joan Ashcraft, and I'm Director of Fine Arts in the Opening Minds Through the Arts program in Tucson Unified School District. It is my joy to welcome you to the OMA family, and we hope you will learn a lot about the OMA program in the next few minutes. In the year 2000, several of our educators and administrators got together to create OMA based on the neurological development of children. Since that time, we've served thousands of children in most of TUSD's elementary schools. We've also been featured in a number of books, nationally recognized books, and also Edutopia website. We've had visitors as far away as China and throughout the United States to witness this program. So we'd like you to sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself as you become a member of our family by watching this program.
Hello there! We are one of OMA's veteran opera trios who have been in the program since 2002.
And we would like to walk you through the program to show you what you can expect.
And even if you've had OMA before, we'd like to show you how to get the biggest bang for your buck.
My name is Juan Aguirre.
And I'm Greg Reynolds.
And my name is Kimberly Chapin. And as Dr. Ashcraft previously stated, one of the reasons OMA works so well is because it is based on the neurological development of children. In other words, different grade levels focus on different skills according to their stage of development. For instance, kindergartners work with an instrumental ensemble to improve auditory acuity. First graders work with an opera team to improve language acquisition, and second graders work on kinesthetic awareness and spatial reasoning with a movement specialist.
And to prove to you that OMA works, let's show them the numbers, guys.
Okay, independent national research firm WestEd Inc. has documented that OMA effectively engages students in learning and increases student achievement and the effectiveness of teachers. As you can see from these graphs, OMA schools consistently scored higher on the Ames assessments and Stanford 9 tests than the comparison schools in all three areas of reading, language, and math.
We struggled many years before OMA came in, and then our test scores did go up. First graders, when I was teaching first grade, our writing scores went up for the benchmarks.
So there you go. But in order to get these types of results, it is important to know your role and to fulfill it to the best of your ability. It is also helpful to know how all the roles fit and work together. So with that in mind, let's take a look at all the cogs that make OMA work, starting with the teaching artist role.
The first thing we need to do when talking about our role is to clarify what an OMA teaching artist is. OMA teaching artists are required to have a master's degree or higher and must be employees of TUSD. They must be professional artists that are active in their field, and OMA teaching artists are also required to attend professional development, be up to date in their knowledge of the state standards, and must undergo extensive and ongoing arts integration training.
Oops, wrong one. Ah, there, that's better.
The key difference between an artist and an OMA teaching artist is that we are hired not just to teach our art form, but rather to teach the state standards through our art form. Now, art is certainly taught as a byproduct through this, but our main focus is to teach the curriculum through our art form.
All of these credentials and training are what help us to fulfill one of the most important expectations of a teaching artist, which is to create and submit arts-integrated lesson plans. As opera teaching artists, it is our job to create arts-integrated lessons with a focus on language arts. All of our lessons directly address the curriculum in an obvious way, and this is due in part to the next artist expectation, which is to schedule and attend regular collaborative meetings with teachers throughout the year. This ensures great communication and puts us in sync with your areas of need.
Most of our lessons have results that don't become apparent for many years. We know this from years of testimony from teachers and parents who have stayed in touch.
21st century skills in the OMA program are so intrinsically linked. The skills that the students use day in and day out in OMA opera of teamwork, collaboration, creativity, innovation, synthesizing a product, they were so important, and in K-1-2 classrooms, we're laying the groundwork of those skills. However, those skills go throughout the child's educational career.
He's in 7th grade now, and he has this self-confidence being in front of his class that is amazing to me and to my husband. We see him he's just not nervous being in front of people.
It opens up a whole vista of opportunities and a real opportunity for them to build in their self-esteem and to feel better about themselves. And that snowballs into every aspect of that student's life. Well, OMA is a fantastic and very powerful vehicle for that as well.
Skills that are improved in with OMA would probably be speaking in public, being able to get up there and not be scared to talk to people. With my industry as hotel and restaurant management, I have to talk to people every day, people that are mad, people that are sad, and with OMA I always had to act, and they always taught me how to respond to people. So it was really easy to bring that into my work life now. I see other people struggle with it, other peers of mine, and I really don't because of OMA and other theater programs I've been in.
And speaking of 21st century skills, one of the most important expectations for us teaching artists is to provide a nurturing atmosphere where students feel safe to take risks and to develop habits of perseverance and collaboration. We also have worked with many students who have learning disabilities and behavioral issues who wouldn't normally fit into the typical classroom setting, but they have thrived with what we do in opera. And sometimes that is just what they need to have the confidence to succeed in other areas of school.
One of my children that's participated in OMA had a real problem with speech and dysgraphia and some dyslexia and some real learning disabilities, and he was chosen to have one of the leads in the opera, and his confidence and his ability to feel like he could be successful in school changed dramatically, and he suddenly felt like he could accomplish something, that he had worth, and no other program in school, because it's all done by tests, and he couldn't write, and so the testing didn't work, and he was failing every test, and everyone told him he had to go to all these special classes, yet to be chosen as one of the leads in the opera and suddenly have this confidence that, wait a second, I'm smart and I can do something. It was amazing, and it changed the rest of his schooling. He's now in 5th grade, so from 1st grade to 5th grade it has really made a great growth impact in his ability to feel like he can be successful.
It's always a joy for us artists to watch students blossom come performance time. And sometimes it's the students that we least expect. And that brings us to our final teaching artist expectation, which is to produce a student opera.
This is an opportunity for the students to showcase what they've been working on, and it involves us helping them to create original lyrics, dialogue, and music in an original work. Stay tuned for the sequel on this topic.
In short, the teaching artist role includes: create arts-integrated lesson plans and submit them to the teachers ahead of time. Stay current with state standards and arts integration training. Schedule and attend collaborative meetings to ensure excellent communication. Provide a nurturing environment for risk-taking, perseverance, and collaboration. And to produce a student opera performance. Now that we've explained our role, it's time to talk about the teacher's role. And for that, we'd like to invite TUSD Master Teacher Janice Bird. Hi, Janice.
Hi, Kim.
Can you tell us what is expected of classroom teachers in the OMA Opera program?
I'd love to. But first, it's important to know that the classroom teacher's role is arguably the most critical role to the opera program.
Hey!
Sorry, guys, but we are the classroom teachers, and the buck stops here with us. You're only in our classrooms for 2 half-hour sessions, 1 hour per week. That's 4% of the time that you have them versus the 96% of time that we have them. In other words, in order to see maximum academic impact, the teacher needs to be actively involved in the opera lesson and making connections for students. Sure, the students are really going to enjoy the teaching artist lesson, but in order to get the maximum benefit, the benefit that your students deserve and that your school paid for, the teacher needs to embrace the role within the program.
Can you describe that role for us?
Sure. First of all, teachers need to collaborate with the teaching artist during quarterly meetings to make sure we're all on the same page. This is your chance to ask the artist to help reinforce any concepts that your students may have struggled with in the past. Second, and probably the most important teacher expectation, is to use what the artists have presented in the classroom and take it to a new level when the artists are not there. That means to refer to the concepts presented by the artist during your regular classroom instruction. How do we do this? Let's take a look at what another classroom teacher does.
Hi! I'm Autumn Klesch, and I'm a teacher at Calhoun Elementary School. The first thing I do is I take a look at the lesson plan that the opera trio provided me ahead of time, and I look for any curricular connections. With those curricular connections, I'm able to make connections myself with the students ahead of time and then after the artists leave because I'm actively engaged in the lesson.
Let's see what that looks like. Let's put this new vocabulary that we've learned into our art form of singing and acting. Mrs. Kim here is going to sing one of our new emotion words, and you and I are going to echo. Now be sure though to put it into your facial expression and body language.
All right, are you guys ready? Yeah! All right, stand up, let's do it!
Now don't start out too much, okay?
Here we go. I feel glad.
I feel glad.
I feel joyful.
I feel joyful.
I feel excited.
I feel excited.
I feel exuberant.
I feel exuberant. Could somebody put one of these new words and say, maybe tell us a sentence about a character in a story that you've read in class? Put it into a sentence? Or maybe a time where you felt this way.
Guys, do you remember the story we read this morning about Boris and Amos? How did the characters feel when they got to see each other again? Read?
They felt exuberant that they got to see each other again.
Yes, that's one of the words.
Good.
Anybody else? Caitlin?
I think they were joyful because it wasn't that much.
Thank you, Ms. McGee.
Thank you, that was such a perfect connection.
Thank you.
And now let's see what it doesn't look like.
Let's put this new vocabulary that we've learned into our art form of singing and acting. Mrs. Kim will sing one of our new emotion words, and you and I will echo.
All right, are you guys ready? Yeah! All right, stand up, let's do it.
Now don't start out too much, okay?
Here we go. I feel glad.
I feel glad.
I feel joyful.
I feel joyful.
I feel excited.
I feel excited.
I feel exuberant.
I feel exuberant.
I love it when Mr. Juan is
I understood. And
all right,
what do you
everyone
want to do
have
about report cards? Do you want to sit and meet?
File those in the
we are going to test your
teachers
skills
in
to
the
see if
folders,
you guys can
or
put
do
one of
I
our new
just keep them in my
vocabulary
own
words
personal folders with the
into
kids?
a
I need to
complete
get them and
sentence
copy
for
them
us.
so I could get them in the
But
code.
we need your
And
attention.
then
We're here, guys.
have to-
We're here.
Need your
Then
attention.
I'll give them back to you.
Like, you just
So
let me
you
know
think
if
of a
it'll be
story that
afternoon
you
or
read in
morning,
class where there was
or
a
when you wanna
character.
meet, okay?
Hey guys,
Okay.
I need your
Sorry.
attention.
No, no bother at all.
Can we, guys,
I'll get
can we
the
hear?
IRP papers from you.
We're
And then I'll
circling
put
one
them
of
with
these
the
emotions,
report
and can you
cards
put it
too.
into a
I'll
code?
get all of that stuff together and some of the things and work on that will really help with me understanding that. Okay.
Boys and girls, are you ready to read this story with me this morning?
Yeah.
Sometimes I am happy. Kane, you have a connection?
Yeah. Happy is a boring word.
What do you mean it's a boring word, Kane?
The opera team taught us better words than happy, like joyful or excited.
Huh, I don't remember that. David?
Remember we put happy in the cage?
No, I don't remember that at all. I can't imagine why they do that.
Yeah, it's really hard to piggyback on an artist lesson when I haven't been paying attention and I have no clue what's going on. We've also noticed that when the teacher is very engaged, chiming in, asking questions, the students are as well. And the opposite is true. When the teacher seems uninterested in what is happening, that it seems to give the students the green light to do the same.
Now let's go to the third teacher expectation, which is...
To use your own creativity and ingenuity to expand on what the artists have brought into your classroom.
Boys and girls, I am just so proud of this poster that you made, and I'm really looking forward to showing it to our opera team. We compared both stories, Amos and Boris and Lion and the Mouse, and you came up with the most amazing list of feeling words. based on all the words. This morning, boys and girls, we're going to, for our writing lesson, we're going to use the chart that we created using the words that Opera has taught you and the new words that you helped me create for this chart. We're going to write in a complete sentence the way Opera has taught you and the way Mrs. McGee has been teaching you to express our feelings, and you can use this anchor chart while you're writing. Start out our sentence, our complete sentence with I felt. I felt. And then I want you to talk about feelings that you might have had today. Maybe this morning when you woke up, maybe yesterday when you left school and you went home. I'm sure you had some feelings, but I'd like them to be feelings that we have been working with in Opera.
Do you actually have
not the boring feelings.
Do you have to actually write?
Yes, you're going to actually write a whole sentence here. Oh, I see some wonderful words. I see joyful, exuberant.
Other examples would be creating word walls of vocabulary learned during opera lessons, or creating OMA journals that they can write and draw in directly after the lesson is over.
Do you guys even have time for all of that?
You know, actually, it's really not a big deal. I'm able to incorporate it into our everyday activities within the classroom. For example, every year we do a jack-o'-lantern activity for Halloween, and now we're able to use the emotions vocabulary introduced by the opera trio. Many of the extensions the artists include in their lesson plans also make for a great writing prompt that the students have to do anyways. Another example is when the opera scripts were finished, I used them as a part of their reading centers. We kill two birds with one stone by helping their reading and memorizing their scripts more quickly.
Speaking of the operas, one year one of my colleagues was having a really difficult time finding the time to teach ancient civilizations. She collaborated with the artists and they helped to develop a script on ancient civilizations. See? Killing two birds, one stone. No pun intended. Do you think those kids ever forgot what they learned? I don't think so.
That is great! Now let's move on to another teacher expectation. And this is one we know you guys will love.
Or hate.
Like I was saying, most teachers love that they get to become a part of the lesson itself from time to time.
This could mean facilitating small group discussions or breakouts, or participating in one of our activities or games, or even performing with us.
Don't worry, we always warn you ahead of time if this is needed, and we'll never make you sing, just act.
Janice, why is it important for you to be part of the lesson from time to time?
Well, it's important for me to model risk-taking behavior. If I'm willing to step out of my comfort level, then my students are more likely to do it as well. It also greatly enhances student engagement, because who doesn't like to see their teacher making a fool of herself?
What about you, Autumn?
Oh, well, I can definitely make a fool of myself too. But I also think it's important that they see me co-teach with all of you so that they realize that you guys are actual teachers and not guests within the classroom. And also, if I'm actively engaged in the lesson, then you guys won't have to deal with behavior issues.
Well, what do you know? You just hit on our next teacher expectation, which is to take charge of classroom management. Do you agree that it is crucial for the teacher to do this?
Oh, absolutely. Considering I spend the entire year building rapport with these students and you guys come in for 30 minutes, you certainly shouldn't have to deal with behavior issues when you have an important lesson to give.
Yeah, even though we seasoned teaching artists like to think we are master classroom managers, the truth is we could learn a few things from you all. And in fact, Miss Janice Bird here would like to show you how it's done. Janice, take it away.
Gute Nacht, gute Nacht, gute Nacht, mein Knopf.
Okay, tell us, what clues did you see? Like, who are the characters? And tell us what you think.
The boy and girl.
Boys and girls. We raise our hand.
Good. The girl. Do you think they were like little boy and girl or like teenagers?
Teenagers! Excuse me, Mr. One. Boys and girls, we don't yell out. If you want to answer a question, please raise your hand. You need to be a good audience member.
Oh, very good. I didn't sound like a kid, like whiny like this. Yeah, good.
Oh. Thank you.
All right, so boys and girls, can anyone tell me, what do you think the setting of that story was?
Excuse me, Miss Kim. Girls, are you being a good audience member by talking when she's talking? Okay, please pay attention.
So, boys and girls, what do you think the problem of this story is? The main problem. What do you think?
The problem is the girl can't the boy lets in. The boy is really angry.
Oh, yes. Very good. I remember that lesson. Thank you, Janice. Now, what we don't want is this.
Le jeu d'un livre, si le chenor. La si le chenor. Le jeu die versu, et heim so pensuru. Gute Nacht, mein Knab.
So let's talk about the story here. So we've got the characters. Who are they again?
The boys and girls.
Oh.
The teenagers.
Boys and girls, do we raise our hands or do we shout out?
No, we don't shout out.
No.
Boys and girls, please listen. Please listen. I'll wait for you. Thank you. So, what was the problem?
Guys, we have to get through this. We're almost out of time and we have to get... Hey! Was there a solution in the story?
That. We do not act like this. You know better than that.
Wow, definitely don't want that in the classroom. As a side note, teaching artists are not certified staff, so it's important to remember that you need to stay in your classroom with your students because really at the end of the day, the students are your responsibility and not the teaching artists.
That's right. Your role within the program is obviously an important one, and the only other teacher expectation is to produce a student opera by the end of the year. However, we'll discuss that in the sequel. Thank you, Janice and Autumn, for sharing your expertise with us.
You're welcome.
Bye.
So, to sum it all up, the teacher's role includes collaboration in quarterly meetings on academic needs and concerns. Refer to concepts presented by the artists during normal classroom instruction. Read artist lesson plans ahead of time in order to make curricular connections. Be actively engaged within the lessons and participate from time to time. Take the lead in classroom management. And finally, assist in the production of a student opera performance.
Now, I think it's important that we turn our attention to another critical role within the OMA program, the principal.
Would you say it's the principal role?
Like I was saying, we have invited Lisa McCorkle, a highly respected principal in our district, to come and answer a few questions for us. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Thank you for being with us.
First of all, can you tell us what you think is most important about your role?
Yes, the most important part of my role as the principal is securing funding for the OMA program. At times this can be very challenging, but the benefits of having this program far outweigh the costs.
Can you explain some of the ways you find to pay for the program?
We use Title I funds to pay for the program, as well as fine arts contribution from the fine arts department. But the biggest monies that we use to fund our OMA program is from the Arizona tax credit monies. And this money will fund all our teaching artists, and we love our teaching artists.
Aw, thank you.
So how do you make sure that you can get enough tax credit donations?
I always want to inform the parents at our OMA performances about the Arizona tax credit donations and how much they can help the OMA program. I set out brochures in the office, and I include them in my newsletters that go home every month. I also make sure to talk to people as often as I can about how much their tax dollars go to help fund this wonderful program.
Let me ask you another question. What do you think is the hardest thing you have to do as a principal at an OMA school?
Well, scheduling is the hardest part that we have to do at an OMA school, especially if you have a fully implemented school with all of the art forms and artists working with each grade level. Each artist has their own schedule as well as the school schedule, which includes instructional blocks, PE times, lunch schedules, and it takes a lot of flexibility and creativity to make the schedule work for everybody. Also, we have to include stage time for our artists as they prepare for performances.
And let me tell you, we really appreciate that. We just could not produce a student opera without the stage time. But let me ask you another question. Have you ever had a teacher at your school who was reluctant to embrace their role in the OMA program?
Although a rare problem, it has happened. We as principals have to understand the program ourselves and be sold on it before we can get buy-in from our teachers. The teachers need to know that their students are going to make academic and personal growth. The program is not to be used as a reward for students or for students who finish their work early. The OMA program is a vital part of the curriculum for all our students at our school.
When a school becomes an OMA school, you're going to initially have a lot of buy-in, but you're not going to have total buy-in. There are always people that are reticent to accept something that's new, that's a little bit uncomfortable perhaps. My experience has been that over time, people get on board. It's not enough just to say, I'm a proponent of OMA, I believe in OMA, OMA's a good thing. Those are just catchphrases. There has to be a true commitment to supporting it and promoting it and modeling it.
Is there anything else you would like to add about your role as a principal in an OMA school?
Yes, I think it's very important that I attend the collaborative meetings with the teachers and artists. That way I will know what they need. I also want to observe the teaching artists in the classroom whenever it's possible. And then getting out into the community and informing them about this wonderful OMA program at our school. This helps us with recruitment and parent involvement to help the program and school thrive.
Great, thanks for joining us, and we appreciate your support.
You're welcome.
And now to sum up the principal's role.
Secure funding for OMA at your school. Aid in the scheduling of teaching artists by being flexible and creative. Understand the OMA program in order to promote buy-in from your staff. Attend collaborative meetings and observe lessons when possible. And promote awareness of the OMA program to the school community.
And now you get the privilege of hearing from some parents about the impact that OMA has had on their children. Take a look.
My child loves OMA. My child just today said, I wish I could do opera every day.
I think the OMA program motivates kids to go to school and not miss class. It's exciting, it's fun, it's something that belongs to them.
This way was a lot more fun than normal writing or learning in class, because in this we got to act and sing instead of just sitting at our desk learning it.
And this is what educators are saying.
OMA was a reason why many of them were not dropouts. Many of them got their parents up and said, Mama, Grandma, Dad, I have to get to school. It's OMA Day. They had them in the palm of their hands. And I learned through them that if you put those little minds in the palm of your hands and you make it engaging and fun for kids, then they'll learn.
And we're having fun, but we're really learning underneath that. So they might not be singularly aware of, hey, this is a learning experience. This is fun integrated with learning, which is also a big component of what school should be about for younger ages. I've seen songs done and plays done that actually literally value other cultures. So if you start with something like that, you're just opening that door. So I think it's a gateway to culturally understanding other people.
Some of our refugees come from very serious situations, and when they come here and sit in the OMA classroom,
They're embracing risk-taking in a very safe way. They're embracing how to develop confidence, how to speak to their peers, how to just jump in and know there's a safety net. One of the biggest differences between OMA schools and non-OMA schools is when you're in an OMA school, you feel it.
An OMA program is embedded in the culture of the school.
I considered putting Nazir in a different school. He was kind of sad. He was sad. His productivity went down, his self-esteem went down, so we decided to put him back at Peter Howe, where they have the OMA program present, and now he's doing great. His grades are up.
And I've noticed that all of them do better on their tests. They're able to memorize better. They're able to enjoy school more when they're participating in OMA.
Hundreds of students who discovered themselves through what they were doing in OMA and went on to blossom in many, many different ways.
My children are grown and gone now, but it was what they did in elementary school that sparked the desire. He just had the bug then. He went on, of course, through high school and went to Cal Arts in California and worked his way up, and now he works on The Voice as well as other TV shows.
It was creative, it was fun, it was active, there was laughter, and after they left, that mood didn't go away. It continued for that day. OMA Opera Days were some of my favorite days as a teacher and some of the students' favorite days.
Learning needs to be fun, and OMA brings that.
We hope you've been inspired by this video to incorporate arts integration into your classrooms.
And we are so excited that you will have the opportunity to work with an opera team at your school. And we hope this video will help you to embrace your role within the program.
So there you have it, an inside look into the heart of the OMA program. We hope that you realize now that the program is not just about visiting artists, but rather something that can change the culture of your school.
Have a great year.
We love OMA!